I didn't come for money. I was hesitating to ask for the transaction because in my head I'm like, this is a lot of money. So I had it in my head that I couldn't afford this. So because I can't afford this, you
Hmm.
probably can't. And then I remember my mentor at the time, shout out to Vince Garcia. He was my mentor the first started training me on sales, and he goes, listen to my words, how I'm saying it, and just repeat exactly what I said. Your investment's going to be this today. Would that be cash or card? And then you shut up. And then I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then I did it. And I remember the first time they're like, oh, card. And they just handed it over. And I was like, oh my
Hmm.
God. So I didn't realize how much my past was getting in the way of me making the sale. But did you have any trouble having those difficult conversations, or am I an asshole and just crazy?
No,
Did
I
you
mean,
have trouble with those?
no, this is why this is such a good conversation, you bringing this up, right? Because we talk about sales psychology, but we're always talking about the psychology of our prospect, and we're not actually always talking about the psychology of ourselves, right? And you're big on mindset, right? And that's kind of like, how relationships started off. Um, I I was I had so much phone anxiety and so much anxiety when I first got into sales. And it's because those conversations weren't prevalent to me growing up because I grew up in a very tough environment and situation too. Right. So like the money conversations we had were, where's the money going to come from? Like, how are we going to eat the next week? Or really, how we're going to make ends meet, all that
Mhm.
stuff. Right. But besides that, we didn't really, didn't hear other conversations around money or opening and talking about it. And I think just in general in our society, a lot of people didn't talk about the exchange of goods or the exchange of money. So I got into sales, those conversations were very difficult as well. Right. But like what really helped me was, right, I'm a relationship builder by heart, right? Even us, I'm always trying to build value, do stuff for people before I ever ask for anything in return, right? And I'm always a huge believer the closest people in your life that you have relationships with, you can challenge them the most, right? There might be something that I
Mhm.
say that doesn't necessarily resonate with you, but then Kayla might bring something up and you're like, dang, we've gone through it, we've had the relationship, we've gone back and forth, right? And it allows for those challenging moments and those challenging experiences, right? And then once I, figured out how to start maneuvering those conversations and really going through it, I had to realize I had to separate myself from a sale, right? And I think that's one of the biggest the biggest things people struggle with in sales is they have commission on their mind. They have a deal on their mind. They have what that could pay off. They have what that can get them, all those different things. But you're not helping the person that you're actually in a sales process with. Right? You're not helping the person that actually could use this product and service. Right. So you're not listening with intent. You're not trying to guide them with intent. You're not trying to ask questions with a rationale and intent with them in mind. And you have to separate those two things. And you have to separate the outcome of the deal because what happens a lot of times when you're afraid to challenge somebody is because you're afraid to lose the deal, right? And you don't have a
Yeah.
deal until it's signed on the dotted line, until you actually go through implementation. And the day that I started realizing that was the day that I felt more free. And I felt like I could have more open conversations and I could challenge people more because at the end of the day, if the question I'm asking you is what set you off and what set you over the edge and what forced you to be upset, if that's all it did, odds are you weren't going to sign up with me or work with me in the first place, right? And if you can't answer
Mhm.
those questions and actually be honest with yourself, what kind of customer are you going to be, and what kind of person are you going to be as far as a client, as far as us actually trying to get you results and trying to implement our services or systems or products or whatever it might be.